Give the judges another shot at it? Forget about the fighters. I don't want to give the judges another shot at it. How's that?
This isn't just about one fight. This points to a pattern of behavior that has haunted boxing for decades. It's known as the A-side bias, the unspoken rule that the more famous or marketable fighter usually gets the benefit of the doubt from the judges. Canelo Alvarez, with his huge fan base and lucrative promotional deals, exemplifies the A-side. He's the cash cow, the golden goose. According to Atlas, that status carries a dangerous advantage. The concern is that judges, whether intentionally or unintentionally, are swayed by boxing's business side. They know which fighter the promoters want to win and which one will bring in more money in the future. In a close fight, that knowledge can heavily influence the outcome. Atlas sees the scorecards from the Crawford fight as another clear example of this bias in action. Even in a fight that wasn't close, the judges appeared intent on keeping the A side relevant and protecting the brand.
If I'm with Canelo, I think I'm happy with Cheatham. But if I'm with Crawford, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, wait a minute, hold on. This guy had he had Canelo over Bebo.
No, he
had Bebo over Canelo. That's what I meant to say. I'm sorry. He had it that close. Hell, he had
115,
it like
113. Now listen, there's another judge on this card who will be officiating this fight, Crawford versus Canelo, Steve Weisfeld, who also scored at 115, 113. I've more singled out Tim Cheatham because of the inconsistency.
Because of his past record.
Yeah, I didn't think Loma lost to Haney. That was one of them. I just talked about the Zoo versus Fandora, number 1. That one, unbelievable. Richardson Hitchens versus Lemos, way too wide. Just recently, we watched a great fight. Figueroa versus Joet Gonzalez. Way too wide for Figueroa. There's been too many examples of that.
If you are searching for a clear example, Teddy Atlas has a name to share. Tim Cheatham. This judge had Atlas and Crawford's camp on high alert as soon as he was introduced. Why? Because Cheatham has a track record of controversial scorecards that seem to defy reason. Consider the Bivol versus Canelo fight. Bivol secured a clear, decisive victory, yet Cheatham scored it 115 to 113, just a round away from a draw. That scorecard raised eyebrows and led to doubts about his impartiality, and it wasn't an isolated incident. Atlas highlighted other fights where Cheatham's scoring seemed to favor the A-side fighter, the one with more at stake. For Atlas, the fact that Cheatham was chosen to judge such a big fight this year was a danger light, a signal that Crawford faced an uphill battle before the first bell even rang. What happens when someone like Teddy Atlas, who has devoted his life to this sport, questions the judges? The Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford super fight was marketed as one of the biggest boxing events of the decade. However, behind the glitz and glamour, a shadow of doubt began to form, and the official scorecards echoed the worst fears of many. Teddy Atlas was upset. While the boxing world celebrated a new undisputed super middleweight champion, the veteran trainer was seething. He had just seen a masterclass performance from Terence "Bud" Crawford, whom he believed dominated the fight. But when the judges' scorecards were announced, 116 to 112, 115 to 113, and 115 to 113, outrage washed over him.
The thing that bothered me, there's only one thing that really did bother me, and that's why I don't want a rematch, I'll be honest. I've been in this business 50 years, too long to fool myself. Those judges should be really, they got to look in the mirror to have it that close. There's no way it was that close. Thank God he dominated. Because otherwise we might be here talking a whole different thing and really going nuts. And I would definitely break this thing.
Yes, you would. I believe you.
And maybe that. And I'd owe money. And I couldn't care. I would pay it. But at the end of the day, that's why I don't want to see it again. He dominated, and the judges had it that close.
Yeah.
Give the judges another shot at it. Forget about the fighters. I don't want to give the judges another shot at it. How's that?
Atlas wasn't the only well-known figure appalled by the scoring. Former NFL star and outspoken sports personality Chad Ochocinco was equally shocked, expressing disbelief that the numbers reflected the reality of the beating he had just witnessed. Ocho insisted on his show, "There's no way you thought that fight was that close." He shared Atlas's perspective, pure dominance. In his words, "Bud dominated that fight. I'm talking about dominated. He landed the cleaner shots. He landed the harder shots. He was active. To both men, the tight margin of victory did not reflect the fight. It was a warning sign that something was seriously wrong with the sport they loved. Ocho explained further, calculating that Crawford won at least 9 or 10 rounds. He concluded, at worst case, Bud lost 3 rounds. At absolute worst case, I would say maybe 2. The general view from knowledgeable insiders was clear. The official scores were fiction.
But that was a great display of boxing. And had Bud not made it so convincing, there's no way, ain't no way to judge, because I don't give a damn what they say. And no, I've never been a judge. I've never judged the fight officially. But that's not a 115, 113. That's not a 116, 12. If you watch that fight, there is no way you thought that those scores were that close. Bud dominated that fight. I'm talking about dominated. He landed cleaner shots. He landed the harder shots. He was active. Yeah, okay. So he followed him around the ring. Yeah, he was pressuring him. But guess what? Every time he come in there, he got slapped.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I really, really enjoy it. When it comes to boxing, when it comes to the sweet science, for those who know the game, who know the sport, and are not just casual fans of it, when it's done the right way, it's like art. It's like a puzzle. All you're doing is putting the pieces together. Whatever he does, I got something for that. Whatever you do, if he has something for that, you come back with something else. I mean, it's a beautiful thing when it's done the right way, and I really thoroughly enjoyed tonight's fight.
Bud won at least 9 to 10 of those rounds. Bud won 9 to 10 of those rounds. There's no way in hell, if you watched that fight, you thought Canelo won as many rounds as
Sutherland and Cheatham, they would be the first guys called into the office on Monday if a national czar came in and said, I'm going to start investigating this sport. I'm starting to look at the things that Teddy Atlas talked about and a lot of other people talked about. I'm going to start, and that a lot of fans talk about, that they're leaving the sport because of the bad judging and officiating. I'm going to start to look at it. And the 2 guys I would say to you, sir, whoever you are, I would say, sir, it might be a good place to start with a guy named Sutherland and a guy named, yes, sir, I'm not making this name up. What is the name, Teddy? Cheatham. I had people winning 11 rounds. All right, even if you said 10, you'd be kind of generous. But to have it that close, I mean, come on. And then the other fights you talked about, I mean, he's got a track record where the problem with him isn't just that he's so off and the numbers are so off. They're off for always the A fighter. That's the thing that puts a light on in my mind, that puts a danger light on, is that he's always, Canelo's the A guy always, right? We know that. We don't have to dispute that. So it's not like he's on the side of the B guy. He's always on the side of the guy that the promoter would want to win. That's what bothers me.
The problem runs deeper than just one judge. Teddy Atlas believes the entire system is flawed. In Las Vegas, the boxing capital, a small group of judges handles all the major fights. There's no rotation, no new faces. It's an exclusive club, a closed system. According to Atlas, this familiarity breeds a disregard for fairness. The promoters, commissions, and judges all know each other. They collaborate and engage in business together. In that setting, it's easy for boundaries to blur and for objectivity to falter. Atlas advocates for a more open system where judges are accountable for their decisions and rotating panels ensure that no single official has too much power or sway. But in the high-stakes world of boxing, money influences decisions, making meaningful changes elusive.
If you got the same officials all the time, which we're talking about, you do. I mean, just look, every time there's a big fight, you got the same guys for the most part. And again, I think that you can help a lot by rotating and getting new blood in there. And also geographically looking and saying, don't keep putting every time you put a fight in Vegas, don't put the same guys from there. Bring in guys from different locales. Mix it up a little bit, because you have these promoters that have a relationship and a familiarity where the judges are more prone to go towards them. Why? Why, Teddy? Why? Because they go out to dinner with them, they give money under the table. They do go out to dinner. I'm not saying they give money under the table. I'm not saying that. But they know that those are the guys that butter their bread.
Given these unfavorable odds, how did Terence Crawford manage to secure the win? According to Teddy Atlas, it's because Crawford is a unique type of fighter. He's not just naturally talented, he possesses unmatched mental strength. Atlas describes him with an intriguing analogy. He calls him digital. While other fighters are solid, relying on their physicality, Crawford operates like a supercomputer, processing information and reacting swiftly. He anticipates his opponent's moves and exploits their weaknesses with precision. But another, deeper reason fuels Crawford's mental toughness. Years ago, he was shot, a traumatic experience that would have overwhelmed most people. Yet for Crawford, that ordeal forged his resilience, instilling a belief that nothing in the boxing ring could be as dangerous as what he had overcome. It's this ice water in his veins that allowed him to face Canelo, carrying the weight of boxing's expectations and deliver a legendary performance.
They tried to bury Terence Crawford. They tried to ruin his reputation and say that he wasn't a draw when the numbers were there for you to see. When he went to MSG against guys that didn't have big names, or that were faded, like Amir Khan, or when he fought Kavyaskis, he did numbers. It was a smear campaign about his personality. He doesn't talk. Nobody wants to hear him. No, that you don't want to hear him. So you try to speak for the masses when the whole time you have a star right here. You got to learn how to talk to this man. Even as recent as his last fight, the fight before Canelo, the smear campaign continued. I don't hear the smear campaign now. Them voices got really, really quiet like they typically do when they get proven wrong. And they either try to jump on the wagon, I knew this kid was going to be that, or they get very, very quiet and they start to retreat back to wherever they came from and they don't have a lot to say. So I'm happy for this brother for that reason, because they tried to bury him, Roy. It didn't work. He overcame that. He said, give me my shot. I'm going to show you. And he kept doing it time and time again, and he did it again against Canelo Alvarez Saturday night.
And what about Canelo Alvarez, the fallen king? Teddy Atlas suggests he wasn't just defeated, he was mentally crushed. Crawford didn't just outbox him, he outsmarted him, outmaneuvered him, and ultimately took away his will to fight. Atlas believes that had Crawford increased the pressure in the later rounds, Canelo might have retired on his stool. This was a humbling, perhaps even embarrassing, defeat for a fighter who has long been the face of boxing. It raises serious questions about his legacy. Will fans remember him as one of the all-time greats? Or will this fight, along with the controversy of the scorecards, forever stain his reputation? The dent, as Atlas calls it, exists. It serves as a reminder that in the harsh world of boxing, your worth is determined by your last fight. This narrative extends beyond Canelo, Crawford, and Teddy Atlas. It encompasses the soul of boxing. It's a wake-up call. A signal that the sport we cherish risks becoming a shadow of itself. A spectacle where outcomes are predetermined and fans are treated like fools. The close scorecards in a fight that was anything but close are symptomatic of a much larger issue, a problem of corruption and greed that endangers the sport's integrity. We are thus left with a lingering, uncomfortable question. Can we still trust what we see in the ring, or has the sweet science been so profoundly tainted by money and influence that it has shifted from sport to spectacle? The future of boxing may hinge on this answer. So, that's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Stay tuned, and we will catch you in the next video.